Good morning, Purdue University and listeners around the country. Welcome to Next Point Wins. I am your host, Matthew Geely. Exciting show planned for today. Got a lot to talk about. It's arguably one of the best times of the year, and we have a lot of topics to get to, a lot of different sports to cover. NBA season has started. Tip-off last night. Boston beats Philly. Golden State beats Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State. I'm in football mode already because there's a lot of football to talk about on this show. Golden State beats Oklahoma City last night by 8. Boston roughed up Philly pretty good. Boston looked really good last night, and Golden State's Golden State. That's something you're going to hear all year long because they are Golden State. There's nothing else to say. Golden State has Golden Stated. Until somebody can prove that they have any chance to hang with them, it's all Golden State. Baseball last night as well. Red Sox take a 2-1 series lead thanks to a Jackie Bradley Jr. grand slam and what turned out to be a blowout victory for the Red Sox, 8-2. And then the other series on the other side, Milwaukee-LA. This has been going back and forth, back and forth. Dellinger lifts the Dodgers over the Brewers 2-1 in the 13th inning with a walk-off single. A lot happened in that game. You had Manny Machado with a dirty play at first base running. You had a couple Brewers players after the game not too happy, not too pleased. It's going to be must-watch TV tonight, 5:30. Brewers-Dodgers. I'd have to imagine there's going to be some fireworks and some retaliation for what was arguably one of the dirtiest plays I've seen this year, coming from a player that's notoriously known for making dirty plays. On the other side, Red Sox get good enough starting pitching out of Eovaldi to get him into the 5th inning, and then at that point, the offense takes over. Eovaldi ends up going 6 innings, 2 earned, 4 Ks. Tonight, the Red Sox look to take a commanding 3-1 lead in Houston. Game 4 starts at 8:30 on TBS. A lot of NFL to recap. We have NCAA football recap and a preview to the biggest game to date for Purdue football and the biggest game to date for the Jeff Brom era of this program. We'll have that coming up shortly, so stick around. First, I do want to get into the NFL. Get that all figured out because both NCAA football and NFL were crazy last weekend. College football was nuts. College football was insane how many top teams went down and struggled. And they were going down in convincing fashion. And the NFL had the same problem. If you want to call it a problem, you want your best teams playing their best football late in the year. And for college football, you want the best 4 programs. As a college football president, you want the best 4 programs with the best 4 fan bases competing for the national championship. Days like last Saturday are not good for college football in the eyes of management. In the eyes of the fan, last weekend was a fantastic weekend of college football. Everybody loves the upset. Everybody loves the underdog. And we had more than I could count last weekend in college football. Ohio State barely gets by Minnesota. I say barely. They won 30-14, but that game was way closer than 30-14. Ohio State got some scores late and got the win. Tennessee beats Auburn on the road. Notre Dame barely holds on to beat Pitt. Pitt had so many opportunities to win that game. They could make a field goal, they win that game. They had so many points left on that board. Notre Dame did not look good, and Pitt, year in and year out, gives Notre Dame troubles, and I don't know where it comes from, but every single year, Pitt has trouble. Pitt gives trouble to Notre Dame, and they almost got him. Texas barely survives Baylor in what was a back-and-forth game where Baylor's Texas relied on that defense, and they came through. Texas now dealing with an injured quarterback. Ellinger went out hurt. Be curious to see if they're able to go back to him, if he'll be ready to go this weekend, or if they're going to have to look elsewhere. Georgia gets knocked off by LSU, 36-16. That game wasn't even close. Georgia got behind, and the offense could not figure it out. From 16 of 34, 209 yards, a touchdown, 2 interceptions. Swift, the running back, 72 yards. LSU beat them down on defense over and over and over again in what was a signature victory for Coach O. He gets a huge victory. I can't believe we thought this guy was going to be on the hot seat to start the year. He's got that team playing really, really well. And now they're all the way up to 5th in the rankings. You still got 4 solid teams in the top 4. But you're 1 or 2 of those getting a loss away from chaos with the amount of 1 loss and 2 loss teams that think they deserve to be in the playoff. You're an Alabama loss, a Clemson loss, a Notre Dame loss, or an Ohio State loss away from chaos. And personally, I can't wait because I think it's going to happen. I think Clemson gets a loss. I think Ohio State gets a loss. And Notre Dame doesn't have many games left that they can lose. I don't think Alabama loses. Alabama's good. Really good, which is not a surprise. But still. Michigan State knocks off Penn State. That takes Penn State completely out of the running for the Big Ten and the playoff. Lose to Michigan State at home. 21-17. Bad loss for Penn State. And then when you think that it's all said and done, you get in the evening games, and you just got chaos. Oregon knocks off Washington, 30-27. Iowa State knocks off West Virginia, 30-14. Michigan roughs up Wisconsin, 38-13. And to cap off the night, USC knocks off 19th Colorado, 31-20. It was just madness. Everywhere you looked. There's so many good games on at noon and 3:30. It was overwhelming. It really was. It was absolutely overwhelming. I'll have my 5 picks coming up shortly. They can't go any worse than last week. I mean, how could anybody possibly expect what went down? It's just madness. It really was. Absolute madness. So I'll have my picks coming up here shortly. We'll also get into a preview of Purdue, Ohio State. I'll have that coming up here shortly. Unfortunately, we have a shortened program today. Unfortunately. Have work responsibilities at 10:45. So this show is going to go till about 10:30, 10:35. And then we'll be just streaming music on WCCR Purdue until the 11 o'clock hour. Sorry about that for everybody. But don't worry, I got plenty planned. We'll get it all in. We're going to keep on moving here, moving along as we move into our next segment. And before we do so, it is important that I point out that if you just tuned in, you are listening to Next Point Wins at Purdue WCCR on the Tuned In app if you're listening live. If you're listening later today, hi. My name's Matt Geely. Welcome to Next Point Wins. You can find the show on SoundCloud and YouTube under Next Point Wins. And you can email the show at nextptwins@gmail.com. Also, you can follow me on Twitter, Matt_Geely, Gigli. That's where you will find any updates on the show throughout the week. Plus, you can check out and discuss with me all the different sports I watch throughout the week because it's numerous and a lot of other fun stuff. So feel free to go give me a follow there and stay up. We'll have plenty of coverage coming up this weekend at the Purdue Ohio State game. So you're definitely going to want to tune in for all that. Okay, so let's do NFL real quick because just last week I talked about teams that need to go one way or the other to figure out where they are. Like last week, I did that. And then some teams showed me, and other teams, I'm more confused as ever. One thing's for certain, the Rams are legit. The Rams are the real deal, and they are the absolute favorite to win the NFC. Another thing that's legit, the Patriots are absolutely for real and absolutely are the team to beat in the AFC. Who else proved something? Kansas City did to me. Mahomes, finally, he's proven it to me. You can't, there's too many games now. I mean, we're 6 games in. That's way too much for me to sit here and be like, I don't know if he's any good or not. No, you can't do that after a 5-1 record. And they gave Tom Brady everything he wanted. Brady got the ball last, and we all know how that ends. When Brady gets the ball last, he wins. Saints at 4. The Saints are legit, and they are the top team to rival the Rams for the NFC. And right behind them have to be the Eagles and the Vikings. Eagles get a blowout victory over the Giants, get their record to 3-3, which puts them almost in the driver's seat in their horrible division. I don't believe in the Ravens yet. They come in at 4-2. I just don't think that they're good enough. I don't believe in the Bengals. They get beat by Pittsburgh in a game that I predicted. That's another team that is going to start creeping their way up to rival everybody else in the AFC, especially with Le'Veon coming back. Week 8, we're going to see a whole different Pittsburgh team, and they're going to be good. Chargers, they deserve to be in the conversation in the AFC as well. They're figuring it out. That defense is stellar. Rivers is playing well, and when those two things go together, good things happen. Jaguars stink. Bears let me down. They stink. Panthers stink. Packers stink. Jaguars, I don't know what you guys are doing. Blake Bortles looked horrible. Ever since week 2, when Bortles threw for 376 yards and 4 touchdowns against the Patriots, he did that against the Patriots in week 2. Here we are in week 7, and Blake Bortles is horrendous. Really bad. Really, really, really bad. He's thrown 6 interceptions in the last 4 weeks, tied for the league high, and it's not looking good. Panthers, I don't know what's going on there because it looks like it makes sense. You got Olsen back, you got McCaffrey, you got Newton, you have some weapons, your defense is okay. I don't understand how this team's 3-2. They should be right up there. Part of the problem is they got the Saints in their division. There's no way they're gonna beat the Saints at this point. I don't know if this is a wild card team or not. They're right on that fence for me. I shouldn't say they stink, but I'm concerned. And then my Bears. Oh my gosh. If you listened last week, and if you didn't, go check it out on YouTube and SoundCloud. If you listened last week, I went through a whole spiel about how I'm not going to get my hopes up too high, and they need to beat the Dolphins, and they need to play the Patriots tough, and if they do those two things, then we can start talking. And then you go and you lay an absolute egg in Miami. I know it was 100 degrees. I know we looked really tired, but that's a game you have to win. Have to win. Howard fumbles the ball on the 1. Cohen fumbles the ball late in the game. The defense makes an incredible play in what was a wild game. The defense makes an incredible play. Causes a turnover on the 1-yard line in overtime. Gets the ball back. Ball goes in the end zone, so you get at the 20. You start running the ball right down the field. They've shown all game long they can't cover Cohen out of the backfield, and they can't cover Gabriel in the slot. All game long, that's been going on. That's not a new development. All game they were getting torched. You get 3rd and 4, and you run the ball up the middle. Howard's got to get that first down, and that offensive line has to get 4 yards. Don't get me wrong. But it goes back to something that we saw over and over and over again with John Fox. And it's a phrase that I'm getting sick and tired of having to say. And that is, might as well just kick it on 2nd down. Because that's exactly what it looked like, Nagy. And he knows it. He knows it. And you know what? He's a rookie head coach, so we got to give him a little slack. I get that. It's a learning process. It's a learning curve. But that's a game you have to win. You have to win that game. Because now you sit at 3-2, and you let everybody in the division come back up to you, and now you get a date with the Patriots. Help us, God. Help us. We are in. Good news is it's not going to be hot. It's in Chicago, but that's a powerful Patriots offense we got to deal with now. I thought Trubisky played well. He missed some open guys. He hit some open guys. I feel like we say that every single week. I don't know when that turns from I think he did well to where I don't know when that becomes I'm disappointed, but it's got to be getting close. See if there's any other teams down here that I think have a shot to make some noise. Cowboys with the impressive win. I don't know where that came from. Cowboys roughed up the Jaguars. They played well. Browns, we're back into Browns form. That wasn't disappointing. Texans are Texans. Yeah. Okay. All right. We got to move on because there's a lot of Purdue to talk about, a lot of college football to talk about, and we're going to do that after this really short break on Next Point Wins. Welcome back. This is Next Point Wins. I am your host, Matthew Geely. We have an exciting weekend of football coming to West Lafayette, Indiana. Let me take you back. Let's start history real quick because we had a very similar situation with this Purdue football team last year as they were starting to get things rolling, and we saw a team that looked like a team that could make some noise. And we had Big Ten tailgate here. The buzz was electric through the air. It was 100 degrees outside, and Michigan came to town. Bad locker room and all. Michigan came to town. And we played them tough for a half. Score was 10-7 at halftime. They came out in the second half, scored 21 unanswered against a defense that showed no depth, a tired defense, and an offense that couldn't move the chains. And Michigan beat us 28-10. Fast forward a year later, we have an opportunity. By the way, that was the biggest game in the Brom era. You fast forward to right now, hello, new biggest game in the Jeff Brom era. The biggest game I've ever seen at Purdue and will ever get to see at Purdue happens Saturday night under the lights in West Lafayette, Indiana. Number 2 Ohio State coming to town in what should be a very telling game for this team and this program. Looking at the forecast for Saturday, high of 55, low of 31, 40% chance of rain, but the showers are early. Showers early in the evening. Winds at 20 to 30 miles an hour. It's going to be cold, it's going to be rainy, and it's going to be electric. Stadium is already almost sold out. Let's start here. If Ohio State plays like they did last weekend, we have a shot. We have a legit shot. An absolute legit shot. If Ohio State plays like they did against TCU, we're going to be in for a long night. And it's never good as a team or a fan to sit there and say, well, it depends on how good they play. It should be how good you play. We know what we're going to get out of this team. Now, here's where the question mark lies, and it's lied with this team all year long, and it's starting to become more and more clear. As the weeks go on, it's becoming more and more clear. Here's the situation. Does Nick Holt get this defense to a spot where they can do what they've done for the last 3 weeks? That's keeping Boston College's running game stagnant and giving up 13 points. That's getting turnovers and surviving a fiery offense of Nebraska, giving up 28 points. And that's pummeling into submission an Illinois offense that didn't even deserve to be on the field, 46-7. Can Coach Holt find a way to slow down Haskins? Can he find a way to stop the run and make him throw? Because I think that's the key. I really do. Don't let them be two-dimensional. You have to stop the run, and then you let him throw. And you might think to yourself, Matt, he's a Heisman candidate. Don't we want to stop him and let other people do well? No. If you stop the run and make him have to throw, he turns the ball over. He misses guys. I think that's the key to victory. This is a team that does not mess around. They average 371 yards passing, 185 running. Just for comparison, we're 330 and 179. They love offense, and they love to go up and down the field with people. I mean, they beat IU. IU got 26 off them. Penn State got 26 off them. Minnesota got 14. Tulane got 6. Who cares? TCU got 28. It's going to be an absolute beatdown between these two teams, and I'm excited to see it. Here's what I've seen out of Purdue these last week for sure, and Nebraska. DJ Knox is the real deal. He runs hard and he runs well. Markel Jones is a great change of pace back for him. Markel's got better vision and better cuts, but DJ Knox's burst and how hard he runs is second to none. Blau has proven that he can be the guy. He can be the man. He has proven that. Rondell Moore is absolutely out of this world. Now, what does he do under the big stage? Last time he had the big stage, he almost set the all-purpose record at Purdue in the first half. Last time he had the big stage, that's what he did in prime time. 7:30 p.m. ABC, which Rondell Moore shows up, and what does Ohio State do to try to limit him? Those are two very big questions I have. Can Ohio State, if I'm Ohio State, I go and look at the second half of Northwestern game, and I look at, I guess I'd mostly look at that. Because the way Northwestern defended Rondell Moore in the second half was very impressive. Now, we're a much different team than we were against Northwestern. We have found very creative ways to get Rondell Moore the ball, thanks to Coach Brom and how genius he is on offense. So, you have to imagine that's priority number one, is figure out how to get him the ball in space, because he is an Ohio State wide receiver. He is. He is the prototypical Ohio State wide receiver. We haven't had a skill guy compete on the same level and be considered in the same group as Ohio State or any of their players in a long time, and he is that guy. He is that guy. So, you have to give him the ball in space. You have to get Sparks the ball. He's a possession wide receiver, and I like watching him play. He gets to the sticks, he catches the ball. Two important things, and he does them both really well. We can't be so-so on offense. We have to take care of the ball, and we have to maintain possession. We can't do what we did against Michigan last year and have our defense out there for half the game. We can't do it. You have to get successful drives that end in points. And when you get in the red zone, you have to score. Those are the biggest things when you are a major underdog against a top 5 team in the country. When you get in the red zone, you must score a touchdown. And when you have the ball, you have to convert on third down and keep the chains moving. That's how you beat good teams. You can't turn it over. You can't go 3 and out all the time, and you can't settle for field goals. And you got to be aggressive. You have to be aggressive. 4th and 1, 4th and 2, you have to go. You just have to. I'm excited. This sets up the rest of the season. It doesn't hurt us if we lose in the Big Ten standings, but it's important to note that if anybody watched Wisconsin last weekend, that's a very beatable team. They run the ball very well. They remind me so much of Boston College. So much of Boston College. They run the ball, and they run it effectively. But when they have to throw, oh man, is it bad. Northwestern's 3-1. Wisconsin 2-1. Iowa 2-1. Wisconsin has Illinois this weekend, so that's a wash. That's going to be a blowout. Then the week after that, they're at Northwestern. That's saucy. That knocks one of the two teams below us because we got Ohio State and then we're at Michigan State. 2 games that don't affect our standings at all. I can't wait. I absolutely cannot wait. Except for I just had an epiphany. So I've been asking this question for weeks, and I still can't get a direct answer. And if you know the answer, and you're confident with the answer, or if you have a guess on the answer, tweet me at Matt_Geely or email me at nextpointwins. But do games against the other side of the conference count against you in your conference, in the standings? Now that I look at it, I would say yes. Wisconsin loses to Michigan. They're on the other side, and in the conference, it shows them at 2-1. So maybe it does affect you, which is interesting. This game's huge this weekend. I'm just sitting here trying to figure it out. I guess it does, but it doesn't. It makes sense, but it doesn't because you would think that since not everybody plays the same teams on the other side, that like what if Purdue drew Rutgers and IU as their 2 teams, and Wisconsin drew Ohio State and Michigan? Like that's not fair. Whatever. Okay. So that's a big game coming up next weekend for Wisconsin. And for Purdue, this pretty much sets up the whole year. Because I don't think you have to beat Ohio State this weekend, but I think you have to play very tough against Ohio State to show that you can go at Michigan State and get a win, or beat Iowa at home, or beat Wisconsin at home. This is murder. You thought these last 3 weeks were fun, but we are quickly approaching Murderer's Row in our schedule. Ohio State, Michigan State, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin. That is a task of a schedule. And we've shown last year that doesn't put us out of it. We had a task of a schedule to finish out the year, and we made a bowl. How do you make a bowl? You don't have to win this weekend. If you win this weekend, you're looking good. You still got to beat either Michigan State or Iowa. And you got to beat Minnesota and IU. You have to beat one of those 2, Michigan State or Iowa or Wisconsin. And you have to beat Minnesota and IU. I'm excited. You should be excited too. Every home game we have 3 amazing home games left. 2 Ohio State, 19 Iowa, 23 Wisconsin. I'm very excited. It's going to be a lot of fun this weekend. All right, I'm going to give you my picks, including that game right there, but I'm going to start with my NFL special. I got the Saints beating the Ravens at the Ravens outright. Saints over the Ravens. Michigan's at Michigan State. Michigan State always plays them tight there. Can they keep it within 7? No, barely not. Give me Michigan winning by more than 7. NC State at Clemson. NC State at Clemson. A lot of people have Clemson on upset watch for this game. The more people who say that, the less of an upset watch it is, by the way. If everybody knows it's an upset watch, including Clemson, it's not an upset watch. It's not a Trap game. I hate that. Trap game. This is a big moment to see what Clemson's made of. 2 ranked teams. I think NC State stays within 17 of them. I don't think they beat Clemson, but they stay within 17, so I'll take NC State. Mississippi State at LSU. LSU comes off that shocker of a win against Georgia last weekend. Can they turn it around and win by 7? Yes. Give me LSU winning by 7 or more. Oregon at Washington State. College Game Day will be in Washington State for this game. The fans will be fired up. It's going to be a great atmosphere. Game Day could have came to West Lafayette, but still, it's going to be cool for Washington State. But unfortunately, I think Oregon's going to come in and ruin that party and beat them by 10 or more. I'm going to say Oregon by 10, so give me Oregon. Last but not least, Purdue at home, under the lights, Ross-Ade Stadium, 7:30 p.m., Chris Fowler and Herbie Herbstreit, ABC prime time special. Ohio State at Purdue. I've given you my keys. Keys to the game. Get Rondell the ball in space. Let him be great. Establish the run. Get first downs. Convert on third down. And when you get in the red zone, put up 7 points. Defensively, stop the run. Make him throw. Get off the field on third down. And we'll have a good old-fashioned West Lafayette shootout. And I can't wait. Game on, Bob from Cromwell. Give me Boilers 42-38. There are my picks for the weekend. And before we close up shop, I have one thing left to say. And it will come right after this final break on Next Point Wins. All right, closing up shop here on Next Point Wins. Thanks to everybody for tuning in today, and thanks to everybody listening on the podcast. Exciting weekend coming up. Hopefully everybody has fun on Saturday. Tailgate all day, do your breakfast club, get into Ross-Ade, and get loud and get proud, because it's going to be one of those games. But if you're going to get loud and you're going to make it inside the Ross-Ade, there is one thing left that needs to be said, and this is arguably the best time of the year as a sports fan. And we're finally getting into that crunch time between the MLB season, NBA now it's tipped off, football's on every day of the week, and there's no sign of soccer anywhere. But during this time, it is easy to get overwhelmed and miss some truly great stories. This weekend, we are going to highlight one of the best underdog stories of all time, and that's Tyler Trent, an official graduate from Purdue University who is currently fighting the good fight against cancer. Tyler, it's going to be pretty cool. Tyler gets to be featured on a segment Saturday on College Game Day. That's Appointment TV. Everybody should tune in, check it out, record it. I'm sure it'll be posted all over online. I think it's going to be really, really cool to watch. So check that out. Tyler hasn't given up, and he hasn't given in. So this weekend, we're going to be celebrating that. We are calling on all Purdue students, yes, that's you listening out there and your friends as well, to change the IU sucks chant for one game. I know how much that means to you, but we need to change it for one game. And this weekend, it should be Cancer Sucks in honor of Tyler. So every time someone kicks the ball off, that is what we should be saying for Tyler. Tyler, you have the thoughts and prayers of everyone here at Next Point Wins, and we look forward to seeing you around the campus soon. God bless, and we'll see you soon. This has been Next Point Wins.